Hi there guys, I'm James Twyman and this is the first video in hopefully a series of videos where I'm going to be teaching you some really cool stuff to do with filmmaking. Now I'm going to assume that you, the viewer, has never made a film before, or you're very new to filmmaking and you're exploring how to make your films look better. Maybe you want to make that step up from looking like you've got a mobile phone running around the fields playing Tomb Raider, or you've got a DSLR and you haven't quite figured out how to get that film look everybody's talking about. Well, we're going to be looking at the different things that you can do to make your films look fantastic. I myself, as you've seen from my blog and as you've seen from my work, have extensive experience in creating high budget looking filmmaking on budgets as low as £4. So how do I do it, and how can you do it too? That's what these blogs are all about. So in this particular video we're going to be looking at lighting. So, video one, lighting. You know, I once heard someone say, without light, video is just, well, radio. And it's true. But it's not just a case of turning on a few lights and we can see our characters, so therefore we can make a film. And that's something, a very common mistake made by young, upcoming or amateur filmmakers. How can you get the lighting you want? How can you tell your story through getting your lighting perfect? And when is it important to not see as much as you see? That's going to be the focus of a later part of this tutorial. First, I'm going to answer the big questions. Which lights should you get? I'm going to take you through my history with lights. I'm not going to talk about any lights that I don't have any experience with, as I think that wouldn't be fair. All I'm going to do is talk about the lighting that I've used before, what I prefer, and then we'll go on a little bit later and discover how to use it. So before I got any lights at all, I was just using whatever I had around me, the sun, lamps, all that kind of idea. And yes, I was shooting on a DSLR, and yes, my footage looked good. But when I look back at it, I realized that I wasn't getting the filmic look that I wanted, because in films, professional films, the lighting means something. And so if I really wanted to make my stories look like they belonged on the big screen, I needed to light them as well. So I went out to B&Q. You know what they say, you can do it if you B&Q it. I wish I was getting some money for that, but I'm not. So I went down to B&Q and I bought one of these. Ta-da! This is a DIY work light, and you can buy one of these from anywhere from £10 to £25. The £25 ones are on big stands like tripods, which are great, and these ones are also good as well. You can put them on tables, you can put them on the floor and light upwards, and I made my first award-winning film lighting with these, and the film was called The Room, and you can catch it on my blog.
And if it wasn't for me, this briefcase wouldn't even be here. So I want the money now.
Or what? Put the gun down, Griffin.
You haven't got the nerve. There's never any blood in your hands, is there? Always other people doing your dirty work. Well, lucky Richie.
I'll see you in hell, Griffin.
So I used these DIY work lights and got a really good quality of light. With the exception of the fact that the lights burn a little bit warm, about 3200 kelvins. 3200 what? There's a guy called Kelvin and there's 3200 of them? No, don't worry, I'll explain. Kelvins is what we measure the temperature of light, as in whether it's very red and warm coloured, or it's really blue and cool coloured. Now it goes anywhere from about 10,000 kelvins, which is your sky blue, all the way down to 2,200 kelvins-ish, which is your kind of red, deep red sunset. 3,200 kelvins is about the colour of a kind of an early mid-morning sunrise. Yeah, and your 5,500 kelvins is your natural kind of daylight temperature, which is what you want from your lights, because then it's a lot easier to set your white balance and then to grade later on. And you can add the warmth or add the coolness as you wish. But there came a time when I was ready to take that step, that big step to professional lights. And I bought a set of these. These are redheads, and one of the things I really like about them is this. They have barn doors, and barn doors are really good because they allow you to control where your light goes. Let's say, for example, I wanted just a stream of light, like a Venetian blind. I could set them up like so. Or let's say I wanted a spotlight just on my character. I could keep these pressed in to prevent any spill going anywhere else. And also at the back, as you can see here, there's a little turny thing. That's a technical term. We only deal in technical terms here. And depending on how I turned it would depend on whether I would have a spotlight or a large floodlight. Now, I want to go out there on the record and say, I hate these. With a passion. They're hot, sweaty, the bulbs don't last very long, and they're not particularly controllable, apart from the aforementioned barn doors. And you can get a dimmer, but it's really, I don't like them. And I suffered through using them for a little over a year because I was trying to find the perfect solution for these kinds of lights. I found that my actors were boiling underneath them. I found that we were having to reapply makeup over and over again. And I also found the bulbs kept exploding. That's right, they exploded. They didn't just go out, they blew up. In fact, at one point we were shooting this big horror scene, and just as the woman is reaching toward the door, boom! Needless to say, we all had to change our trousers before we continued the shoot. So, whilst these were good value for money, I got 3 of them for 130, and you can as well get 3 with a dimmer switch for somewhere around kind of 170 off eBay. I didn't like them, and I think I calculated I spent about £400 on new bulbs, because it's about £25 for 5 spare bulbs, and they don't give you any warning as to when they're going to go. They just go. So I don't like them. And I would not recommend them. They're horrible and disgusting and hot and sweaty and red. Very, very red. And
I sing modern contemporary material as well. I take inspiration from people that have great drive and ambition. If I was looking musically who inspires me, then obviously, you've got All Blue Eyes, Sinatra.
Is your figure less than Greek? Is your mouth a little weak? When you open it to speak.
I was looking for a new solution, and I found one. The solution that I found was actually in LED lighting. LED lighting is fantastic. Whereas with the other two, the bulbs can last anywhere. The DIY work lights actually lasted quite a while. They might last a good few days of continuous use before the bulbs blew. The redheads would sometimes just switch them on first time and the element would go. The thing about LED lights is that they're cool to touch. You can use them for hours and hours and hours, and they won't get hot. The bulbs have up to 10,000 hours of life to them. That's a crazy amount. They're lightweight, they're compact, they use very little electricity. So I tested the water and I got one of these. This is a Yongnuo 160 LED video light. And I love this thing. It goes on top of my camera. It can go on top of my camera, or it can go on top of a tripod. It has barn doors as well. I'm not entirely sure how much light it gives out. It has these cool little diffusers and colour gels here. I'm going to take that out. And takes 6 AA batteries or a large A or V frame mount battery. And they give out a hefty bit of light. You just turn them on and you can choose how much light you want. So I can turn it down and I can turn it back up again. And I can use these all day. Absolutely wonderful little devices. At that point I was sold. I use these on the shoot drag. Actually, I use them on the shoot drag.
And I don't give a damn for lost emotion. I've such a lot of love I've got to give. Let me live. Let me live. This is my life. This is my life. This is my
So, I continued my search for LED lights that would really, really work for me. And then I found the Aperture Amran AL, and it is an incredible light. I'm going to show it to you now. This is actually what I'm lighting myself with at the moment. And it's actually been on for about an hour, and there's no sweat, and there's no heat, and they're amazing. They're absolutely fantastic. They cost 80 odd pounds a piece. They're expensive, but seriously, if you want good light, get a couple of these. I have two, and I will be buying a third. So here it is. This is a wonderful light. Again, it comes with two of these. One white for keeping it at your 5500 kelvins, which is your daylight, and then one which is orange, which brings you close to that 3200 kelvins of warmth. But it doesn't come with a blue one, which I was really surprised with. But the cool thing about this is you don't need to buy any more of these, because what I did, I went down to my local art shop and I got myself some coloured acetate. This is the other one, by the way. There you go. I got myself some coloured acetate, and I drew round one of those, and I just cut it out, and that fits and slots nicely into the light. And I've got a blue one, I've got a red one, I've got a green one somewhere, and you can see if I just pop that on there, it makes me a bit more red, and if I pop that one on there, it makes me a little bit more blue. They're really, really good, and these cost 60p a sheet, and I just pop it in. And I can, if I wanted to, and I will do this now that I know that this works really well, is I'll draw around this one, and I'll have little slotty ones that I can put into that. Okay, that's really cool. And we're actually going to have some fun with these a little bit later on. I know that this video is starting to run a little bit long, so I might put it into two parts. Why get one of these? Well, for a start, you can get two large Sony batteries, pop them in, and they'll last for hours. But they've also got a mains, which I've got mine in at the moment, and so that will go for until I turn it off. You got it on a switch, and you also have this little dial here, which goes from mini to max, minimum, maximum, and goes from a range of 10% light output to 100% output. So this is a really good light. This is about a 500 watt output, so 3 of these, if you get them, will give you 1,500 watts of light, which will light a small to moderate set. Get a couple of these, and you're also going to add extra value to your lighting by adding highlights, flourishes, and hairlights, and also maybe a little dash of colour here and there. These are the way to go. If you are, and I will say this right now, if you are wanting to buy lights, if you are going to invest in lighting, buy these.